the Auburn Blitz Podcast, your direct source for all Auburn all the time with Brett Pritchard, Faith Richardson, and Randy Lee.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Auburn Blitz Podcast here on this Tuesday morning. We're glad that you joined us wherever it is that you tune us in, and at whatever time you tune us in, we're glad that you make the Auburn Blitz part of your podcast watch and listen every day, and continue to spread the word as we continue to grow here on the Auburn Blitz. A lot to talk about. Randy and I will get it started. Faith will jump in a little bit later here like we always do on Tuesday. Randy, history in the making here for the Auburn Tigers, and we'll dive into that head over heels here in just a minute. But I do want to thank our sponsors here on the program. Can't do the show without them. Sensor Green, for air that's cool and clean, call on Sensor Green. They are the carrier experts, and they're proud supporters of Auburn Athletics and the Auburn Blitz Podcast. Scout Program Management, a full-service construction management firm in Birmingham, specializing in educational projects, and they'll help you from the pre-construction phase all the way to the finished product. Make sure you call on Scout Program Management. And Bunkers. Randy, you and I love Bunkers, and a great place to go hang out, watch the Final Four. If you're not going to make it to San Antonio, you need to be at Bunkers on Saturday. They're going to have a great watch party there, and it'll probably be lit just like the whole tournament has been there. Great food, great service, great atmosphere, 50 parking spots downtown West Glen. Go check out Bunkers if you haven't done that. Yeah, history in the making, Randy. I got something to throw at you right here out of the gate. The 6 highest rated teams in the last decade in the KenPom ratings, 4 of the 6 are in this Final Four. 25 Duke team is number 1. The 25 Houston team is number 2. Number 3 is the 24 UConn team. The number 4 team in this rating is the 21 Gonzaga team. Then you have Florida, this year's Florida team, number 5, and Auburn is number 6. 4 of the 6 highest rated KenPom teams this last decade are in this Final Four. Have we ever seen a Final Four this star-studded and this loaded? I know there's been some good ones, but this is 4 number 1 seeds making it. That rarely happens, by the way.
Yes, it does, and that's part of the reason. But, I wonder if it's scheduling, Brett. I really wonder if it's everybody realizing that you've got to play a tough schedule like Auburn has this year. You look back at Alabama last year, and their record doesn't show or make you think that they're one of the best teams in the country going into the tournament. I mean, your eyes tell you that because They had so many close games with some great teams. But, Brett, that schedule led them to the Final Four, and I thought by the end of the year they were the second best team in the country if you watch the way that they played UConn last year. And then you got Auburn playing this tough schedule. Of course, Florida playing a difficult schedule, just getting through what was probably the toughest conference in all of college basketball this year. So, Brett, do you think that that's part of the reason that you're seeing these KenPom numbers so high is based off of teams like Auburn saying, look, we know we're good. We're going to throw them out there because Auburn's played all 4 of these teams. I mean, all 3 of these other teams.
That's right.
I mean, Auburn's seen all of them. They've seen us. And so, nobody's going to be surprised with how these matchups end up here, Brett. But back to my question, though, do you think it's because of much tougher schedules, out of conference schedules, and a tough conference schedule for the SEC?
Yeah, I think it's 100% that. And I'll back it up by saying that 2 years ago, Alabama played that tough schedule, and Auburn didn't play as tough a schedule and ended up with a 4 seed. And we know that story. It didn't end well. Lost to Yale, but did win an SEC tournament championship. So, again, got to put some hardware in the trophy case and got to hang another banner. That's great. But Auburn at this point in time in the process of this program is not content with that. Not just, I remember the days when we would just hang on any thread just to make the NCAA tournament. Would we be one of the last 4 in, or would we get some type of love from the committee to get in? And if we ever made it, we didn't last very long. So this is the different mentality of this program. Not only do we expect to win the SEC now, every year, like a Kentucky used to do. Auburn expects to win. Alabama, I think, expects to win, along with probably Tennessee and Florida and several other teams. But that's where this program is. But I remember 2 years ago, the scheduling kind of hurt Auburn. And Bruce Pearl went back to the drawing board and said, all right, we're not going to have that happen again. We're about to go out here and match the hardest schedule. And so we're going to go out and get Houston. We're going to play Ohio State. We're going to play Purdue in a neutral site. And we're going to get in the Maui Invitational for the second time in 7 years. And we're going to go play a star-studded field. And then they won the thing. And then it's like, okay, I remember a bunch of Alabama fans going, well, the reason y'all are where you are and you didn't make that run is because you're not battle tested. Well, I will say this. Auburn did have some good teams on that schedule, but they didn't live up to billing. So it didn't end up being what probably you thought it was going to be. This was a no-brainer this year. This schedule, you knew having to go out to play Houston, you probably – I didn't think we'd win the game. I thought, man, let's go out there and be competitive. I didn't expect to win the Maui Invitational. I just said, look, let's go win 2 or 3 games and be, a team that looks like they belong. But then they won all this stuff, and then you're like, good Lord, this team's good. And they just kept building. So they learned from the error of their ways the year before. And I know Alabama fans are kind of like, well, I wish they hadn't done that now, because not only did they play a tougher schedule, they won those games, and they positioned themselves to be the number 1 overall seed because of it.
Well, you definitely didn't expect to go out to Duke and win that basketball game, and that ends up being the first loss there. But it's a great schedule. I know we're prepared for this. The beauty of going into playing these teams for the second time, Brett, I said this yesterday, and I'll say it again here. Everybody's had to already scheme for each other. And I like our chances. And everyone at this point's got great coaches. I mean, look at these coaches. I mean,
no
just
doubt.
about anybody around the country would trade for one of these 4 coaches. You may can add another 6 or 8 coaches on top of that, but I don't think any of the ones of us that are going to this tournament would trade with the other, and that's saying a mouthful.
And there's 2 young guys and there's 2 veteran guys in here. So, I mean, it's good.
Well, two of the very best young guys
Right.
going into this, very dynamic, unbelievable recruiters that are building programs up, and they'll be here for a long, long time. And then, like you said, 2 guys that I think do it the right way. Kelvin Sampson and Bruce Pearl, from a defensive standpoint, Brett, I think coach up this game the way that I enjoy playing it. I enjoy watching it. I like hard-nosed basketball, hard-nosed coaches. I don't like a slow philosophy out there. I want to get in your face. I like watching teams that defensively make it a little bit miserable for you. You and I have had the good fortune of watching some unbelievable high school basketball here in the state of Alabama, and those are the teams that I gravitate to more than the others, is those teams that play 94 feet, Brett, make life a living hell out there to play them. You may beat them, but you're miserable by the end, and they're miserable too. And Nolan Richardson, gonna give it all. And if you don't play as hard as you can, then you're probably going to come over there and sit for a little bit. And I appreciate both of the way Coach Pearl and Coach Sampson coach up the game. And so, look, if either one of them, we want to win it for the first time in our program's history. But if Houston won it, I'd feel pretty good about it. I just think he does it the right way. How about you, Brett? The longer that I get into watching the way that he coaches and the way that he handles himself, and that out-of-bounds play that won the game the other night, I mean, they do the little things really, really well, like inbounds plays that win or lose basketball games for you, and it won him one to get here to this Final Four. So, great coaches.
Do the Houston Cougars remind you of UNLV a little bit?
Well, the only reason they don't is they're not as explosive offensively.
Right.
They're not.
That's where I hesitate, to compare.
Those UNLV teams you love so much. I'm not going to say I love them so much. I was randomly kind of a Duke guy. You remember that, but I know it. But UNLV was the team that was just so red hot.
They were.
And those guards, along with Autry and Larry Johnson and all of that clique that
Stacey Augmon.
Augment, all of that clique could just get it going. And no, I don't look at Houston and think that. I'll think. Let me sit on that for a second. You hit me out of left field a little bit.
Yeah.
But they're just rough and rugged. You know,
Right.
they make it miserable to play, and their post guys have gotten so much better. And here's the beauty of Houston. I think it goes unnoticed maybe more than it should. In the day of the transfer portal and NIL and everything that's going on, they haven't built their program like that. Auburn has.
Right.
I'm not saying that I'm upset about it. Look, I'm all about it. I mean, those guys we're going to throw out there on the court, all of them outside of Tahad are transfers that we've gone out and piecemealed a wonderful team. Now, a lot of them have been here, Dylan too, but a lot of them have been here a while. It's not like, you know, outside of Miles Kelly and a few others, they're not first-year guys. But this Houston team, Brett, there's no transfer in. Those guys have been in that program the whole time. I think they have one transfer in and one transfer out this past year. Is that right?
They did.
I saw that somewhere.
That's right.
So they're building it a much different way than most are building it right now, Brett. It's just tough to hold on to everyone right now.
No doubt. I want to talk about some other things, history in the making with Auburn. Auburn now has the most single-season quad one wins of all time, beating out the 2023 Kansas team, who had 17. Again, another mark in this team that just continues to break records. You know, I can't remember the date that Jason said yesterday on the podcast, but he said dating back to somewhere in – I can't remember. I don't remember the date, but he said Auburn played – every single team Auburn played after that point was an NCAA tournament team. And he said it's just been an unbelievable – just everything about this season's been crazy. And then that's another stat, the most quad one wins. And again, it goes back to your initial point of the schedule. If you don't schedule Houston and Ohio State and Purdue and Duke and all those teams, you're not breaking this record. Now, the SEC was loaded, so about every time you went on the floor, that was a quad one opportunity when you played in the SEC. But you're not going to break the record, of 18 when you're playing a weak non-conference schedule. Plus, I think the blueprint has been laid for all these teams now that you got to go out and schedule. And I know this is almost directly opposite of what we talked about at the end of the college football season. You know, you brought up the point over and over about why am I going to go schedule some unbelievably tough team at the beginning of the season, you know, when the conference schedule is already tough enough and the committee's not going to give you any credit for it. Well, the flip side of that, on the basketball side, the committee does give you credit for going out. You ain't got to win them all, but you get credit for playing a tougher schedule.
Well, let me say this, though. Football, you lose a couple of them, you're right there on the edge then. You know, and I think they'll give you credit, but you can't creep into that 3-loss range or you're going to miss out. You know, the beauty of basketball is Alabama last year. I hate keep going back to them, but it's the truth.
Right.
How many they lost 9 games in the regular season last year, didn't they?
They did.
I mean, I think they were 22-9 in the regular season. They didn't play well in the SEC tournament either, did they? I mean, and then they
got destroyed by Florida.
So then they go on the run. Though my point is, you can still go and win a national championship, even with double-digit losses.
Right.
Auburn had that when we went to the Final Four a few years ago. I think we lost 9 or 10 games in the regular season, if memory serves me.
Right.
And so Auburn goes on that tremendous run, and we get hot. You can't do that in football. You got to watch your losses.
No.
And you can't get – my point with Auburn more than anybody else is Auburn has to go through the juggernaut that nobody else can say that they do year in and year out. I mean, I would trade with anybody else in the country on our 2 key rivals that we can't run away from. I'm not saying I want to run away from them, but I bet nobody else in this country would choose to have to play Alabama and Georgia every year in football. There's no way. Nobody's choosing that.
Nobody's signing up for that.
So if we've already, if every year we've got to sign up for that, you don't have anything more to prove. Nobody else is going to prove any more than that. That's the reason the 2017 version of Auburn, when they went through that hellish streak to win those 2 games. Got all of the glory that we did, and Gus Malzahn got all of the money that he did because he was able to go through that gauntlet there at the end of the season and make it to an SEC championship game. Nobody has to deal with that. But in basketball, you can go into this thing. I mean, Auburn went into this thing with 5 losses. I know one of them is an SEC tournament loss, but I mean, we go into this with 5 losses, and we feel better than we've ever felt about it. So it is a lot different than football. And I do think that if you're not going to honor those teams that play that tough out of conference schedule, which it didn't look like they did last year.
No.
The way that they set that playoff up, I'd want to rearrange my schedule and not have to deal with that every year.
Yeah, no doubt. I think.
Why risk going to Baylor?
That's what I'm saying. It's opposite in football than it is in basketball. You want to create. You want to go out and play as many. And again, it's different because there's more opportunities in basketball. You lose a game, it's not a big deal. If Auburn had lost to Houston, I mean, has it affected Houston's season? Houston lost that game. It ain't affected them. Basketball, unfortunately, for all the people out there that want to poke at the tournament and all, the basketball regular season doesn't mean as much. I mean, so you go out, you're not penalized for going and scheduling tougher teams. If anything, it's icing on the cake if you go win several of them. Football is different. You got 12 opportunities, and the committee showed this past year, putting Indiana in, that you can get away with playing one tough team and you can get killed. But if your record's 11-1, they're going to put you in the they're going to put you in the playoff. And so now how will the committee respond? Because it caught so much hell about this, and maybe like an Ole Miss who played a gauntlet and barely missed it. I think they finished 9-3, Ole Miss, but they had their chances. Again, nobody was feeling sorry for Ole Miss. They laid an egg at Florida, who wasn't very good, and then they let Kentucky beat them at home. So look, it goes back to the philosophy: handle business. But Ole Miss was a better team than Indiana, even though they laid a couple eggs. It just shows you the competition level in this conference versus the top to bottom level of competition in the Big Ten. It was night and day. So will they go swing the pendulum all the way to the other side and be extreme about, okay, now go out and reward all the teams that played a tougher schedule, and even though they may not have as good a record, somebody maybe with an 11-1 record that played a weaker schedule gets left out now, comparable to a team that maybe even goes 8-4 but played a super, super hard schedule and maybe lost a couple of those games by a field goal or less than a touchdown. And is the committee going to try to balance that based off what they did this past year in the first year of the 12-team playoff? Well, I don't think any of us know what they're going to do.
Well, nobody knows. Nobody knows what tomorrow brings with the NCAA. That's the hard part. That's the extremely hard part of leading and making decisions. And the way that football, you have to make these decisions 4, 5, 6 years in advance.
Right.
I think once the rules change, then you shouldn't have to honor schedules. I believe that. I mean, if the rules change and it doesn't benefit you to go on the road to Penn State and play,
right,
or go on the road to Michigan and play.
Well, teams get out of games all the time.
They get out of it, but they should be able to get out of it with no harm done, no money paid, nothing like that. Just automatically get out of it if you're going to change the ruling on the way that they're going to. And Luke was spot on with that last year to get upset with the way that all that went down. I agreed with him wholeheartedly, but I agree with him more because I'm an Auburn fan. I don't care about
our schedule's brutal.
Our schedule is year in and year out built in for hell. We got to deal with Alabama and Georgia, and then once every 5 years, LSU's better than them two.
Right.
I mean, we got to deal with all of them every year. It's a nightmare to go through.
Let's shift gears, talk a little bit about the transfer portal in basketball. Jacoby Gillespie got in the portal from Maryland. I'm going to run through some of these guys. The big center for Iowa is going to Creighton now, so he's already made his decision. Again, you got all these guys. The tournament's still going on. I mean, we still have, all this last week when the portal opened. I mean, you got a lot of great teams in the Sweet 16 that want to be able to go out and compete and get players in the portal that, I mean, they're trying to scheme for another game. And it's another screw up by the NCAA. I mean, you should not open the dang portal while the tournament's going on. It's
not
just
fair to those coaches and teams.
It's not, man. Well, it's because now you got all these other teams out there racking up, and they're concentrating on really going out and building their roster for next year because they're out of the tournament. And the same goes for football. While the teams are in the playoffs, these other teams are out there scouring the earth trying to find the next guys to come in and fill their roster. So it's not right. You're not rewarding the good teams, really. I mean, you're really penalizing the teams that are going the furthest because they don't get a chance to go out and maybe get a head start in the portal. I know they had guys making phone calls and stuff, but I mean, what are you more concerned with as an Auburn coach, playing Michigan or worried about the next big guy you're going to get to replace Janai Broome and Dylan Cardwell? I mean, they're both equally important, but in the moment, you got to worry about Michigan, and then it's on to Michigan State. Now it's on to Florida in the Final Four, and then if you get past that, it's either Duke or Houston. Elliot Cadeau from North Carolina just went to Michigan, so I know that he was a guy that played AAU ball with Tahad and Jakai. So there was a lot of talk about that, but now he's going to Michigan, so he'll be up there with Trey Donaldson if Trey Donaldson decides to say so. I mean, they just help their backcourt tremendously. There's a lot of guys in the portal that I'm sure Auburn's in contact with. Flory Badunga is another one that I want to talk about from Kansas, a guy that really came down to Auburn and Kansas for his services. He chooses Kansas. Again, NIL had a lot to do with that, I think, and NIL has a lot to do with a lot of decisions guys are making right now. But he gets in the portal. I think with a no contact tag on his portal entry. So I don't know. Is Auburn, they got something cooking with him? He really liked Auburn. I mean, we saw what Walker Kessler did. What we thought we had Walker Kessler, and then all of a sudden he takes a trip to North Carolina and calls Bruce Pearl. And Bruce Pearl thought he was kidding. I mean, I'll never forget talking to Coach Pearl about this. He said, Walker Kessler calls the coach, I'm sorry, it's hard for me to do this, but I'm going to go to North Carolina. And he thought, man, come on, man. I know you had a good time up there, but I know you're kidding with me. And he's like, no, coach, I'm not. And it kind of pulled the rug out from under Bruce Pearl. And then, of course, he got up there and I'm not going to say he didn't like it, but it wasn't for him. And then he gets in the portal and comes back to Auburn, and we know how that worked out. I mean, could we see Flory Badunga at Auburn? I mean, I think we can. I mean, he's a guy that was a top 20 national player last year going in to college, and Auburn was right there at the end. So maybe something brewing there with him and Auburn. I don't know.
We're going to end up with plenty. I truly believe that. I think there are so many options when it gets to this portal. I don't know if you noticed, Brett, his name's going to escape me because I don't have notes in front of me, but the kid from Paul Bryant last year that went to Kennesaw State, played for Antoine Petway. I called his semifinal game last year. I think I called you and told y'all, why in the hell are we letting this kid out of state? 6'5" point. Played point in high school. Not exactly sure what he did at Kennesaw State, but he was player of the year in the conference, Brett, his first year. Averaged about 19 points per game. I don't know if you noticed today, though. He's committed to Louisville.
Oh, yeah,
so,
right.
I thought for sure Alabama would be in the mix. He looked like and felt like a perfect skill set for what I think, another one here in the state of Alabama that I hate that Auburn didn't go after, but I'm sure we've got some other names that we really like. Salim London at Hoover. Oh, my. I've seen UAB. All I need to watch of Salim London and called enough basketball games of his over the last 3 years to know that UAB's getting a steal.
What about Dwayne Brown going to Tennessee?
Well, Dwayne Brown is the epitome of what Tennessee's trying to build.
There's no question.
Rough, rugged, perfect player.
Yep.
For Tennessee, and Tennessee's going to have.
I'd take him at Auburn though.
They're going to have two post. They're going to have two post players from the state of Alabama. You think about it. Got the Phillips kid from Jacksonville, Alabama, that's 6'9", 6'10", and now you've got Dwayne Brown going over there, 6'9", 6'10". So both of their posts coming out of the state. Salim London stays at home there in Birmingham, goes to UAB, but I think he would have been a perfect fit. It's really difficult, and I'm not. But you and I kind of get caught up because we have the good fortune of watching these kids compete against some of the best here in the state of Alabama. And so it's really hard to weigh how a guy is going to transfer over to the NCAA game and if it's going to look exactly like we saw it there. You know, the beauty of what I saw with Dwayne Brown, though, and Salim London in that All-Star game, Brett.
Right.
They were men amongst boys in that Alabama-Mississippi All-Star game.
Absolutely.
Didn't both have 30-something?
They did. I mean, that Hoover team.
How many of the
right.
we have been calling those things for 20 years.
Right.
You know, one of my favorite stories is heading over to the state of Mississippi to watch Devin Booker play, and I didn't know who in the hell he was. And he was out there warming up with a bunch of kids before the game. We were at Jackson State University.
Right.
And he was warming up with a bunch of kids before the game.
I think you and Luke called that one.
We did. I said, you know what? He's a good looking player. I think he can play.
Did a lot of homework. We did a lot of
homework back in the day, man. And somebody was walking around and said, "Do you not know who that is?" I said, "No, no clue." Well, he had scored like 3,500 points in high school at the time, and we beat him that night. But he had 32 of the easiest points you've ever seen in your life. That's how good of a player.
And how good of a player is he in the NBA too?
Oh, he was a wonderful player then. But you know, back to sometimes when you match up in those All-Star games.
Right.
You can tell greatness, and that's how good those two Hoover players were.
You know, this Hoover team, you know, maybe we didn't spend enough time. I got a chance to go up and hang out with those guys. And just, again, talking about historical, I know you got to watch yourself when you say best of all time, because when you say best of all time, you're going back to whenever. But I don't know that I've ever seen a team like this Hoover team this year. And Phoenix City, pretty good program. When I watched that game, and they were so outmatched, and you and I both know what type of athletes Phoenix City has. They have like a huge, big treasure trove that they just open up and they just jump out over there. I mean, it's like, where do they get? I mean, they just reload every year. That looked like a college basketball, and it is. I mean, think about what you just said. That was a college basketball team on the floor playing high school basketball. I mean, from a big, long, tall, very athletic guard and Salim London to Dwayne Brown inside to the younger guy that name escapes me that's an underclassman that'll be back.
6'11".
Yeah, that's also a tree down low. And it's like, man, they're making this team right here look like a bunch of has-beens. And you know, Phoenix City, they had no height comparable to them. I mean, they were okay, but the discrepancy was so big that you knew going in that they didn't really have a chance, and they didn't, and nobody really had a chance.
Let me add that in. You know, I had a really good conversation with Montgomery Academy's head coach a couple of weekends ago. Super guy, by the way. And I called Montgomery Academy's championship game, Brett, and up and down classification, buddy. That's as good a team as I've seen in like 3 or 4A basketball. They didn't have a lot of close games this year. And I think they lost 2, and 2 of those games were in 7A. They came back and they beat Auburn a second time, but I think they lost to them the first time, and I think they lost to Huntsville High. But their coach said exactly what you just said. That's the best high school basketball team I've ever seen in the state.
Never seen one.
Second to none. Never seen one like it. I mean, you've got just an unbelievable amount of talent on one team. And Jarrett Fairley, you didn't mention him, but him at point guard, and
I can't go down the whole list of everybody on that team.
That was as good as we'll ever see here in the state of Alabama. I truly believe that. And they were all 3-year starters. All 3 of those guys. We just Fairley, Salim London, and Dwayne Brown. They won 3 state championships in a row in the highest classification. And they didn't go through some weak teams to get there either, Brett. It was an amazing run against some great teams. And glad to have Faith jump in here, Brett, and give me a little respite to go out and work today. Let me hit my 2 companies before I step aside. Yeah.
Before you do that, I want to, since this is Tuesday, April 1st, and it is April Fool's Day, so but this isn't an April Fool's joke.
No, this isn't a joke.
This isn't a joke. We want to tell everybody officially that Faith is part of our team now, Randy. And I know we've said she's been with us for a while, but she joins the real world today. I know her parents that are watching are excited. She's no longer a college student, anymore. She's graduated, and welcome to the hell you and I have to do. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. It's not that bad. But she is a part of our team. We're going to have a press release that will go out a little bit later today. But we both wanted to say congratulations to you. We're excited about having you part of what we do, and looking forward to the future.
Well, we're thrilled to have Faith. I'll jump in, then I'll let the two of y'all talk. But we're thrilled to have her. She's shown us that, she'll look ahead. She'll check and see what we're doing. She has no problem telling you what she likes and no problem telling you what she doesn't like that we're doing.
No question.
We need that. We need new eyes on some of the things that we're doing. And we do plan on adding and enhancing some of the content that we've got going out there. But I've said this a number of times. We want to talk to you. If you're trying to find a way to get your business, your brand, your product exposed, Faith, you've picked the right field to go into. In the day and age of podcasts and media, there's a million different ways to get your story out there. You don't have to sit around and wait for WSFA 12 News. I love that. I love it. I'm not. Anytime that we were ever spotlighted on there was a wonderful thing in any sport that I ever played growing up. But it's a new day and age. It's not just that 10 o'clock news and 5 o'clock news. It's a little bit different. And so we're going to try to push this to the limit, and Faith's going to take the lead with that. So we're excited to have her.
I'm really blessed. I'm really excited to see where this opportunity takes me. And also I've been working with Randy and Brett for, it feels like forever now. So I'm glad I'm finally part for real of the crew. So
you have no idea how close I was to saying, Faith, I hate to break it to you, but we're shutting all this down. We can't offer you this job any longer. I just didn't have the heart. It is April Fool's out there, everybody. So just keep that
I didn't
in mind.
even think about that.
That would have been pretty funny.
It's all
I should have
joke
done
now.
it. I should have done it.
Enjoy your media business, Faith. I must step aside and go handle this sign business and this apparel business that we've got going on. I can assure you that it's not quite as fun as what we've just done right here, but I do love it and proud to have been doing this for 20 plus years. 256-825-0197, Lee Apparel and Sign Source, custom tees, promotional products, corporate apparel, athletic uniforms, and then on the Sign Source side, from start to finish. If you need one designed, from lighted signs to vehicle wraps to signage to go in any of your stadiums or schools out there, call on us at Sign Source. We've got 3 brand new installation trucks that are running all over the Southeast to put up signs all the way up to 90 foot off of the ground. But 256-825-0197. I'll step aside and let y'all close things out. Y'all have a good morning.
All right, brother. You too.
Randy.
Okay. All right. And a couple more while we're at it. Sure Shot in Alexander City. I'll pull the banner down so everybody can see the phone number. 256-329-0080. Turkey season is underway. And I was in there the other day. Man, they've got all the apparel that you want. Don't be wearing those old rags out in the woods. I mean, when you get that turkey and you take your picture, you want to look the part. So it's all about putting that on social media. So go in there. Of course, the ammo that you need, new shotguns. They've got the Browning sale, 10% off on Browning firearms. Go check them out there in Alexander City, 256-329-0080. Tell them that the Auburn Blitz sent you. I know some of you have already done that, and we love it. We appreciate it. That's really good. Scott's a great guy. His staff, go see him. And then Oliver Ross, a full-service bartending service. Licensed, trained bartenders for your party of 20 up to 20,000. And that's no kidding. Big functions like that, they can handle it. Frat parties, sorority parties, corporate functions, they've got it all. Don't make a mess. Don't spill it all over the floor. Don't spill it on your girlfriend or your boyfriend. Don't look stupid. Go hire Oliver Ross, and they'll take care of you out there. Check them out on Instagram and Facebook. I got to get their new graphic up. So you got to stay on me about that. Faith, that'll add one more thing to the list that you can get on to me about that I get every day from you. So, all right, so let's get on to some more talk here. We talked about earlier the history in the making with Auburn and kind of went through all kind of different things. But let's shift gears and kind of talk a little bit about, we're going to talk all week about this, but Auburn finally getting back to Final Four. We kind of recapped everything yesterday. let's talk about this opportunity Auburn has in front of it at 5:09 on Saturday, taking on the Florida Gators, a familiar foe. These two teams know so much about each other. Jason Caldwell was on with us, Faith, yesterday, and it's like he said, Todd Golden, Stephen Pearl, the best friends. Bruce Pearl probably thinks of Todd Golden as another son. But competition's competition, and both want to win this game and both want to be able to move on to a national title. I think Auburn would probably have rather played Texas Tech, and Florida probably would have rather played Michigan State, but the two best teams in the SEC survived, and now they have to play each other for a spot in the national title game. This is going to be a good basketball game. Now, here's the odd thing. An early favorite for Florida, 2.5 points. But the ESPN matchup predictor, Faith, has Auburn with a 57.9% chance of winning this game now. So,
yeah, we were looking over it earlier today, and we'd rather be the underdogs to go in and win.
no doubt. No doubt.
And I don't know. I feel like we don't really have kind of the same pressure that Florida has right now.
I don't either. I really don't either.
We've watched them the past 3 games look rocky, and we said after they played Maryland, we were like, we're not going to watch them play that bad again. Not that I think that they've played horrible since, but I still don't see the same Florida team that we watched during the regular season and the SEC tournament.
They have tailed off a little bit. I mean, let's be honest. They were fortunate to escape Texas Tech. I mean, Texas Tech, I thought with 3 minutes to go in that game was going to win it. But this is who Florida is. They find a way, but it was Walter Clayton putting them on his back, scoring 30 points. That's what All-Americans do. He's a first-team All-American, just like Janai Broom's a first-team All-American. So we know what this is going to be. It's going to be a matchup of guards and a matchup of inside play, and it's going to be a back-and-forth type game, and Janai Broom and Dylan Cardwell are going to have to match up against Hall and Condon. And then outside, you're going to have your hands full with what Florida presents, just looking at some of their stats with Martin, Richard, and Clayton. Just really, really probably 3 of the best guards in the country. I think Will Richard is one of the scariest players. He averages 13.3 points a game, but he's the guy that tends to be the one that can come down the floor and hit 3 or 4 threes in a row, and you're in a 2-point game. Now all of a sudden you're in a 12-point game, and it's like, what happened? And you're concentrating on trying to shut Walter Clayton Jr. down, or maybe taking away Alex Condon inside, and then Will Richard just steps up and torches the nets. The same thing with Martin, averaging 14.5. You just can't let your guard down, no pun intended, out there defending on that perimeter. But if I had my rathers, I look at our guards, and with Tahad and Miles and, of course, Denver. And if you talk about a trio that can go toe-to-toe with these guys, it's those 3.
Yeah, I no doubt. And we said that with Jason yesterday about how our guards are going to have to play the best that they've played in, like, together. All of them are going to have to play the best that they've played if we want to move on. And I feel like it's kind of been a little bit of a minute for every single one of them to be as hot as we saw them earlier in the season. And that's going to be what's important for us to win this game.
No doubt. Florida won that game by 9 in Auburn. It was probably a little bit more of a blowout than the score showed. Auburn came back and kind of closed that, but Florida had, a 17, 18-point lead a lot there in the second half. I don't think you're going to see that this time. Again, in the Final Four, in a cavernous building. I know Jason said the Alamo Dome's not as cavernous as some of these places that it's played in, but still a massive arena. And you're going to have to get used to playing in that. And the team that really gets acclimated quicker can settle down and adjust to the crowd is going to have an advantage. And you see lower scores in the Final Four than you usually see maybe throughout the tournament, the regular season. More games in the 70s type games. You rarely see those games that get up in the 90s, in national championship semifinal or final games. So, again, both teams have the complete package, the inside-outside game. It's going to be which one plays the best, takes care of the basketball, minimizes turnovers, and is able to create some things, maybe some fast break opportunities and, some cheap baskets. And then, of course, fouls. Faith, we talk about that all the time. And
all season.
Get to the line and make your free throws. That's what you have to do. And you talk about every point's a premium at this level. It sucked in regular season or when you're in the SEC tournament or whatever to miss free throws. But, man, every single point is magnified in this environment. I mean, go back to the 19 season and look at the Virginia game. You think you got it won. You're up 5 with 17 seconds? I'm thinking there's no way. And then you go back and you look at, we should have had another point here, or we should have had another point there. No lead is ever safe in basketball, it feels like, in this environment. So
I think we've been saying that all season, though. We've talked about how we can't hit free throws, and we've talked about the energy, how that's declined throughout the end of the season. So I don't know. I think the last time when we played Florida, I don't know what was going on with Florida, but they were telepathic, I think. They were so connected and yeah.
Well-oiled machine.
I literally have never seen a team play like that when I literally think they were telepathic. And we couldn't do it. We could not handle them.
Well, it was another one of those, and we didn't see it maybe at that particular point, but it looked like more of the team that we saw finish the season. Very sluggish and, maybe not in the flow like we thought, a little sloppy with the basketball. That team, I think, has gone away. I think this Auburn team now, watching what we've done, I think the Alabama State game was a wake-up call.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since then, Creighton, Michigan, now Michigan State, Auburn has looked more like the team that played Purdue, Ohio State, Iowa State, those types, even the Duke team that we lost to. Auburn had the lead for a while in that game, and went to Cameron Indoor. Is one of the toughest places to play in all the country, and almost knocked off Duke on a short turnaround after winning the Maui Invitational. So that's the energy in the team that we wanted to see back, Faith, and we've seen it the last 3 games. And we still got some guys that are still trying to find their offensive game again. Chad Baker, Chaney. But if we can get them back to add to maybe the trio of guards we have and Janai Broome just being who he is, it's going to be hard to beat this team. It really is. I don't care who it is. It's Florida. I know we got to get past them first. And then, like I said yesterday, I don't care who it is. Houston, Duke, just bring it on. At that point, you're 40 minutes away from winning a national title, which you and I are excited that we're going to be. We've made the commitment. We dove off into the deep end. We're not going on Saturday, but if Auburn makes it to the championship game on Sunday, we're going. And so we made that decision. We are going. I mean, you can't not go. I mean, the more I thought about it, and the more I've kind of soaked all this in, I'm like, it's kind of like going to the Elite Eight. I was like, when are you going to go back? You hope to go back every year, but realistically, that's probably not going to happen. So take advantage of the opportunity if you can do that. And, I regretted not going to that Final Four in Minnesota. That we talked about that, a bunch of buddies. Let's go get a van and let's ride up there. We never did it. Even though we lost, we were like, man, we should have done that. And not going to have that regret this time. Again, would love to go out Saturday. We've got other things going on, but we have all said, the heck with whatever. We're piling up on Saturday and we're leaving and we're heading out to San Antonio for the game on Monday. So let's get through this game on Saturday and let's make our plans. I'm excited about it.
I'm overwhelmed just thinking about it, but like overwhelmed in the best way possible.
I think it'd be a fun time to do a podcast from outside the Alamo Dome. I can handle that if you can.
Are you kidding me? I think I'd be just fine.
So yeah, let's have that to deal with, and I hope we're all scrambling to make our plans and get everything together. But I think I kind of did that with the Elite Eight. Everybody said, "Are you going to the Sweet 16?" I'm like, if we make it to the Elite Eight, I'll go to that game. I can't go on Friday, but I'll go on Sunday if we make it. And we did, and I went. So I got to bring the 96 pullover to San Antonio.
Yeah.
I mean, that thing's got some magic in it right now.
I think it does.
So
I think you're right.
We pulled that thing out against Creighton, and then we pulled it out against Michigan. And I know Butch is watching. So, Butch, you got to wear yours too, man. Me and him have got a vibe going with our 96 pullovers.
That's so funny. Yeah, y'all are funny.
Do whatever you got to do. I'm superstitious, I'll be honest. So I'm going to wear it. I'm wearing it Saturday and going to wear it again on Monday night. I'm just going to go ahead and be optimistic and say, well, we're going to wear that thing on Monday night. So I will wash it, though, I promise.
I hear you. I get it.
Do you have a lucky shirt or anything that you've ever been superstitious about?
I don't know if I have anything that I've been superstitious about, but I feel like when it comes to football, when I was growing up and watching with my dad, if I went into the kitchen or something,
oh yeah,
and he started doing good,
you can't leave.
Yeah, I'd have to stay there. My
kitchen.
mom would have to stay wherever she is. Like my dad he'd always be in his same spot on the couch or like in his chair, and so like it didn't matter if he was doing anything because he was always just sitting in his chair, but there's everybody else. But other than that, I don't think.
If you could have seen my house in the 2010 Iron Bowl, I'm telling you, we had a bunch of people over here. And by the time that game got we started coming back, we had people there were people outside stuck that couldn't come in. And they were having to listen to it. I'm like, you can't come back in the house. You just can't come back. Because anytime anybody changed, something bad happened, I'm like, just go back to where you came from. Just do it. So I got stuck in the hall. But I could peek around the corner and at least see the TV. Some people couldn't even see it. And like everybody had agreed, just don't move.
Just don't move.
And we rode those vibes to come back. We all know how the 2010 season worked out. So you're not the only one that does that. I promise.
I was doing laps around my house after that. I was 7, but I remember it.
I mean, just quit bringing the age up every time. So again, yeah, superstition, lucky shirts, wherever you got to sit in the house or outside or in the car. It doesn't matter. Just do what you got to do to help us get through this thing. All right. So to shift gears a little bit, you and I heading over to the complex to take in football practice today. You got a busy day. I'll be your camera guy once again. Excited for the first installment of On the Front Row with Faith. Got a couple interviews today. We'll be getting those edited up and put out on our Auburn Blitz YouTube page and Facebook page and everywhere else that we can push those out. Excited for you, Faith, on this. Man, what a big day for you all the way around. April Fools, it's not really April Fools. And so this is just action-packed, a lot going on. Yeah,
I'm really excited. I guess we've got 2 today. And so I'm really excited. I don't know what else to say because I know we've already said that Cooper McMurray is going to be the first one.
Right.
And then we've got gymnastics for next week. But I'm really excited. It's going to be fun. Yeah, there's a lot, and we're working hard on it. So
we are working hard, no doubt about it. A couple more things. Obviously, we'll talk about football tomorrow, what you and I are able to see at practice, and kind of give our take on some things. Baseball will be in action today. They've got another game, so we'll recap that. And they got Alabama coming up this weekend, which is going to be a great series. Obviously, Alabama only 4 losses on the season, having a great season so far. But Auburn plays UAB first tonight, and then we'll welcome in Alabama, which is again, when you look at the conference standings, Faith, Alabama is 6-3. They're 25-4 on the season. Auburn is 20-8 and 4-5, and Arkansas, Georgia, Tennessee, and Texas are all 8-1, sitting there at the top. And this conference is a meat grinder, and we'll talk more about baseball as we get closer. We'll recap what happened in that game tonight, tomorrow. So we'll talk some more softball as well. Got a lot of recruiting to talk about this week, both basketball, obviously, and football. So, man, I'm already exhausted just running down everything we got to do this week. And so excited about it. And, again, welcome aboard. We can't say it enough. Excited for what you're going to bring to the table, Faith.
Yeah, I'm really excited. And I'll be going to at least one of the games against Alabama this weekend.
Great. Maybe. Well, you're gonna have to go.
TBD.
You're gonna have to go Friday or Saturday, because we're gonna be planning to go hit the road to go to San Antonio. Yeah. So you better
so
get one
it'll
of those.
be TBD on which day I go, because I know Friday we've got a long day. And you know how I know
Exactly how you. Yeah, it's gonna be a long day Friday. And if we all pile up and get out of here and go towards San Antonio bright and early Sunday morning, we got a long one there too. So
and I'll be asleep for half of it. So.
I know it. Yeah, you'll be in the back asleep. So,
but yeah, no, I'm excited. And again, I feel like I've been part of the crew, but Brett, you finally won't hear me saying I'm working for free anymore.
Yeah, you can't say that anymore. I can promise you that.
But yeah, I'm really excited, and I'm excited to just kind of see what we can grow this to, and obviously Randy too. So again, grateful that y'all are taking the chance on me, fresh out of college grad. So
right out of the frying pan into the fire is all I can say.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. We're looking forward to it. And I know you are too. So official welcome. Again, we'll have the press release out, everybody, a little bit later this morning. So you have to read about Faith and kind of her journey, how she got to this point. All right, that's going to wrap it up. Again, thanks to all of our partners here on the program. Sensa Green, for air that's cool and clean, call them Sensa Green. They are the carrier experts here in the state, saving people thousands of dollars on their installs. Proud supporters of Auburn Athletics and the Auburn Blitz podcast. Scout Program Management, a full-service construction management firm specializing in educational projects. Call on them for all your construction needs. And Bunkers, downtown Auburn, just a tremendous place to go and hang out. Better go there for the Final Four. I mean, what other place? If you can't go to San Antonio, you need to be at Bunkers to watch the game. They've got the bars, they got great food, they got great service, they got everything you want. So go check them out. 50 parking spots downtown Auburn there on West Glen. A couple of more there that we'll talk about. Sure Shot, we said it. Turkey season. Somebody I know is excited to get out in the woods and take a stab at this thing coming up. So I won't name any names, but we'll maybe have a picture or something if we get lucky coming up that we can flash up here on the screen. But go to Sure Shot, pick up your apparel, your firearms, your ammo. Give them a call, 256-329-0080. And Oliver Ross for your next party or function, corporate or private. They'll bring out the best bartenders in the business, licensed and trained to take care of your party. Check them out on Instagram and Facebook. Faith, let's hit the ground running today, girl. It is time to go. Long day, so we might as well get started. Again, want to thank everybody that tunes us in each and every day here on the Auburn Blitz podcast. And also don't ever forget our Auburn Blitz show every single day from noon to 1. And we appreciate all of you out there that have subscribed and continue to spread the word and we really appreciate it, and all of our partners. So have a great day, everybody. Go out there and do something great and